Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. Get some weed and now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Penny Bloom Podcast. 'Tis I, Colton Robertson, and you are back for the Falcon and Winter Soldier weekly episode breakdown. I am joined by several good friends joining me once again after a long run of Mandalorian and WandaVision. Joseph George, what's up, buddy?
What's up? How's it going, boys?
Oh, it's going. It's fucking going. We've also got, along for the ride as well, Miles Buttress.
How's it going, man?
Oh, it's good. It is good. And one that has not been on the ride thus far, but one who has been very, very, very welcome. This has been an extraordinary time with Tillman McClunie.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. Welcome. Glad to be here.
Hey, I'm glad you are here. And obviously, we are here to talk the Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're going with episode 2, The Star-Spangled Man. I'm not going to do a real scene-by-scene type thing. I took a general outline, sort of notes, and we'll kind of just jump topic to topic, right? So, off top, I want to know how y'all are feeling about John Walker, the new Captain America at this point. Let me get Miles.
As we can see, but they can't. My name is Fuck New Cap. And your name is Fuck John Walker.
Yeah.
So we really synced up there with no plans to.
No plan at all.
Yeah. Knew from the second he popped up in the first episode with his goofy-ass smile, I knew I was going to hate him. And this episode, there was like a half a second where I was like, all right, you know what? Maybe he's just a dude that's along for the ride. And then he, acted like he was the shit, and I was like, all right, don't like that. And then towards the end, whenever he was like, if you're not going to help me, then just stay out of my way. And I was like, all right, let's cool it there, big guy. You're not tough shit. You just got your ass beat by, by like four people that, barely know what they're doing.
He's a fuckboy. He ain't got no powers.
Yeah.
Tillman, how you feeling about John Walker?
Honestly, I am actually excited to see what he does and how he fits into this piece, He was chosen for a reason. I mean, like, if you think about it, they could have chosen anybody else, but they chose him. And they're reading his accolades and whatnot. And, I mean, the way he threw that shield in his training exercise, I was like, oh.
Don't get me wrong. I ain't saying he ain't going to be good at being Captain America.
I know. Yes.
I feel like
physically he's a fit. Personality-wise, I just hate him.
Yes, no, I'm looking at him too. I don't, we all, come on now, we don't want him to be Captain America. Like, just give the shield back to Falcon, the black person they stole from in the first place. But I'm, I'm sorry, hot take. But I'm just
not
sorry.
A hot
I'm just
take.
like
exactly what happened.
Exactly what happened. It's just tragic, and it's hot. But I'm excited to see how he does, because when he said, "Did you jump on a grenade?" Yes, 4 times. I'm like, oh, okay. So they saw some quality traits, but you just can't recreate the same thing. But I'm wondering if there's more to him, and not just like what he may be involved in, but I'm wondering if, because like I said, that man threw that shield kind of hard. I'm just saying, like, some type of reward.
You think he's juicing a little bit?
I think he's juicing a little bit. I'm talking about super soldier juicing, possibly, just maybe.
Joe, I can tell you're itching over there. Let me hear you.
I'm conflicted because at the beginning of this episode, I kind of wanted to give him a chance, because we definitely got off on the wrong foot with him. We all immediately hated him just because of what of the position he was put into.
100%.
So this episode, I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to give this guy a chance. Maybe he is cool. Like, maybe this is our new Cap and we're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know? So I was watching it and I'm like, okay, like I like his little upbringing. You know, he's pretty humble. But then the line where he says, you know, you're either going to be with us or, you know, stay out of my way. That line in particular, if you take that out, I think we come out of this episode liking him a lot more. But since he said, get out of my way, like you're worthless to me, I ain't gonna
lie. My opinion of him shifted before that. My opinion of him shifted when he bailed Bucky out. Like, on paper, good thing he's done. But what he's actually trying to do is manipulate this dude into participating with him, right? And whenever he comes in and he, like, greets Bucky, he's like,
That's
with
true.
me. That's on, like, I'm the best.
And he was like, how'd you get me out of here? And he's like, yeah, well, look who I am, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you know what? I agree with you now.
What I worry about with John Walker is that we're dealing with a guy who hasn't been given the limelight for the things he's done, right? He hasn't been properly recognized. Sure, he's a war hero and stuff, but, like, I don't know many war heroes personally, you know, like... So, like, we're gonna know the name John Walker if he's Captain America, right? And I think he's getting a little drunk on that sort of power there. And I feel like that might be a way we're headed towards. And I'm interested in seeing what that does. I think if he ever gets a chance to fight Bucky or Sam, he's gonna invite it. I don't think it's gonna be like a begrudging shit, I have to fight you thing. I think it's gonna be a, like, I'm ready to fight you.
Yeah, I think what will happen is he will be this asshole character on purpose, right? And then Bucky or Sam or both will beat the living shit out of him and be like, dude, you don't have any cred yet. Like, you're in the biggest role of your life. You're in the biggest role that you could possibly be in. And, like, you have zero cred, so shut up. And, like, just put him in, like, basically just put him in line. Like,
I completely agree with you about the whole, like, I think up until, and agree with Colton, up until that whole, like, them in prison scene, or Bucky in prison scene, I definitely still didn't like him, but it was a net positive day for me. I liked him more than I did at the beginning of the episode. And then that scene happened, and then the get out of my way scene happened, and I was like, all right, I fuck this guy. No, stop it. Then I would also agree. I do agree with you, Joseph. I could 100% see that happening where he, for whatever reason, pulls some shit with them and tries to, you know, do something, and they just beat the shit out of him. And then, like, the ending is Falcon becomes the new Captain America, and then we see him become established as U.S. agent, as opposed to trying to, like, take the claim of, I'm the new Captain America, I'm U.S. agent now.
I do want to say, guys, let's not put words in my man Jay Walker's mouth. He said, stay out of my way, not get out of my way. We don't take it that way. He just said, stay out of my way. I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's not the same thing. Like, stay out of my way just means, like, you're not in my way right now, but if you do, just don't. So, I mean.
Yeah, but he said it with so much hatred, Tillman.
Stay out of my way.
And honestly, I'm like, sir, I know you're new to this. I know you're new to this whole saving the world thing. And I'm just like, you a basic soldier. You know, I'm in my house. I can't say certain things, but that man is basic. All right. He's a soldier who did special ops, whatnot. He didn't go up against aliens. I'm just like, bro.
He wasn't facing off with the big three. Aliens, androids, or wizards.
Exactly.
I thoroughly enjoyed that part of the whenever they're like, well, he's one of the big three. And Bucky's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Big three?
Doctor Strange is a wizard?
Yeah.
No,
wizards, alien, and androids. And he's like, what?
A sorcerer's just a wizard without a hat.
Yeah.
I just made that up.
That whole scene, hated it but loved it at the same time. Because I hated it because it was so stupid, but I loved it because it was so stupid.
I have kind of a hot take about that scene. I know everybody loves Bucky and Sam together, right? Like, absolutely. I really don't think their relationship has been earned yet.
No, I think they're going through the process right now, though, because they still kind of hate each other.
Well, yeah, they still kind of hate each other, but like,
and I think that's the whole reason it hasn't been earned is because of the fact that up to this point, their whole relationship is based off of, hey, we're Captain America's friend from whenever he was a child, and up until he got frozen in the ice, and then now I'm Cap's new best friend up until you came back, and now we're just kind of both his best friends. And that's what their whole relationship is based off of. They're like,
I guess it would make
connected
sense that all
friend.
they do is butt head.
Yeah. Well, that's all they have done.
But also along with the part of on the extended side of that is, you know, the whole shield thing. It's I know how much that meant, and you know how much that meant. So why did you give it up? That part of the relationship, we can't ignore that too. Is that that's where a lot of the fuel and hatred. At first, it was like kind of like funny hatred because it was like, oh, we're like you're his best friend from way back then. I'm his best friend now. Yeah, goofy buzz. But like now, the hatred is stemming a lot from what part do you not understand that I did what I thought was right, and I gave that shield away. It was not to be held by me. And then the hate from Bucky is, you shouldn't have given that shield away. That was everything that he entrusted to you, and he thought that you were worthy. And then, but the cool part is, it's not even like he gave it to you instead of me. It's the fact that he's like, no, he chose you, and he saw something.
And if you don't live up to that, then how am I supposed to live up to what he expected?
I love that line. It showed it wasn't just I'm mad at you because he gave it to you instead of me. It was, I'm mad at you because if you gave it up, it means you weren't worthy of it, which means he was wrong with me too, and he shouldn't have let me, live, kind of thing. I really like that line from Bucky because it's something that he's probably continued to struggle with since he came back.
I don't think their like friendship is at best friend level yet. I literally think it's at they're literally just mutual friends right now. Mm-hmm. I'd say they're friends, but I think by the end of the show, they will become best friends. They'll realize how much they have in common.
Yeah.
And it'll just, I think this show is to establish the new friendship.
It's to make them earn that friendship.
I guess I didn't think about it enough. I was just thinking about, I just thought it was funny that, as soon as he needed to, Bucky just, met up with Sam, knew exactly where he was, and was like, hey, buddy, why the fuck did you do that? It seemed like, I don't know. It was just weird. But
no, I get what you're saying. You took it, you viewed it as they were best friends, and then now thinking about it more, you're like, but they're not best friends, so it makes sense that they're acting like this.
No, it's their relationship seemed, I don't know, a little bit like they knew each other more than they actually
seemed
do.
rushed. Yeah.
Because they've spent time together during fucking battles, but they haven't spent time together otherwise. They don't know each other really. So I guess that's part of the misunderstanding here is Bucky doesn't really know Sam. Sam doesn't really know Bucky. So how can they possibly agree on shit? So yeah, it plays out well. I just didn't think about it enough, And one thing that did strike me as odd though is later in the episode when they're in the couples therapy scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Bucky gets real. He gets real as fuck. Mm-hmm. He's like, because if he does, if you don't live up to what he was, then how am I supposed to live up to what he thought I was?
Yeah. How am I supposed to consider myself worthy of still being here?
Sam retorts, and rightfully so, with this is probably something that you and Steve would never understand, but I did what I thought was right, and that's not being Captain America. And then after that, Bucky doesn't really say anything, and then Sam gets really mad. He's like, I'll tell you what, after this, no more friendship. Nothing. We'll never talk to each other again. And I was like, that seemed very abrupt. I didn't really understand where that came from. And then it was immediately followed, that scene, by John Walker confronting Sam and Bucky in the parking lot, right? And them talking about that for a second. And that scene escalated weirdly quickly too. Someone got really angry really fast for seemingly no reason. And I was like, man, the guys here get angry fast.
Mm-hmm.
They get real mad.
I thought the exact same thing after the couples counseling.
Yeah.
Scene.
I don't know. I think Sam getting mad after, during the therapy session, I think that was, warranted. I think it was, Bucky was basically telling him, you made the complete wrong decision. It's not, it's just black and white, you made the wrong decision. And then like Sam, who's been thinking about it forever, actually thinking about, should I do this? I can't do this. There's a lot of like embarrassment inside of himself. And like whenever Bucky just calls him out saying like, this was like, how could you even possibly give up the shield? Like basically just told Sam like, you're so wrong. I don't know. And he went through all that time struggling. Like it was, I would have gotten pissed. Like if Bucky just yelled at me for, saying that it was a cut and dry, I should become Captain America. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. And then top of,
go ahead.
Okay.
No, you go ahead.
All right. On top of that, the whole thing with, and also he said, also with the stuff that he was dealing with when he was thinking about, it took me a long time to decide that I can't do this. The part hopped on, the next part hopped on where he was like, I didn't know that they were going to do that with the shield. So he's also dealing with that regret and that pain of knowing that like he gave it away and they lied about what they were going to do with it. They took it away from me. They thought I was going to a museum, a part of his legacy with everything else in his museum or put up away. But then I didn't know that they were going to do that. So I feel like he's feeling that pain and that regret as well in the fact that they did that. Go ahead, Miles.
No, I was just going to say, like, can you guys hear me? Okay, I just want to be sure. I can definitely understand why, like, he reacted like that, but I also feel like in that situation, to me, like, at the end of that scene, I was just like, I feel like Falcon's just kind of being a dick here.
Well, there's, like, yeah.
Because Bucky went really deep with, like, his reasoning as to why he viewed it as a bad thing. And I understand getting a little offensive about that, but I feel like he also should have realized, like, he went deep with his reasoning, and me reacting by only getting mad at him and not trying to kind of reconcile, like, the thought process that I had, just kind of make, like, I walked away from that, like, at the end of that scene, I was like, I feel like they both kind of were in the wrong a little bit, but he seemed way more in the wrong.
Here's the thing. Yeah, I'm with you, but like I can also understand Sam getting angry here the more that I think about it. Even when Bucky was asking Sam, like, why did you give up the shield? He was never listening to his answer because it was always actually about him. Like his worries were about himself, not about Sam, So he's being selfish and Sam's fucking fed up. Kind of lashes out at him for it and kind of reasonably so a little bit. And then I thought it was corny as shit when Bucky was walking out of the room and he was like, hey, Doc, what's rule number 2? It's like, bro, you know what rule number 2 is. Don't be dramatic and talk about it.
Bro, he's like a 100-year-old man. He's going to make dad jokes, guaranteed.
Maybe he was like, hey, what's rule number 2? Because you just didn't do it because I'm hurt.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, maybe that's why he said it.
Damn.
Maybe he was just trying to quietly say like, I'm hurt.
Might be onto something there,
dude.
bro.
I think you're actually right.
No, I think you are
That's what
right.
they were going for.
No, I think that's that makes the line a lot.
I said it as
corny.
a joke, and as soon as I finished saying it, I was like, shit, that actually
was a
might
stroke
be
of
it.
genius.
No, because that would be the only reason he looked back and said that. Because I thought maybe it was like a threat to Sam in the future, but that doesn't make sense. So I thought like, no, that makes 100%. Like he's like, what was rule number 2 again, Doc? And she was like, nobody gets hurt. And he's like,
a single tear rolls down his eye.
He's like,
what was rule number 2?
Night, Doc.
I mean, it might just be a classic 2 birds with 1 stone. He meant both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah, maybe that was actually it. He was just like, what was rule number 2? Because I'm going to kill both of you once this is over.
I mean, at the end of the day, both of them are soldiers and they've seen some shit. And I think that's why they said, let's do this mission. Once it's over, we're leaving each other, vacation far away. We won't see each other, blah, blah, blah. I think it's just like
funny, though.
I think it was just like they're soldiers. They've seen some shit. They're just fed up. They're just like, you know what? Let's just save the world and then get on with our damn lives. Like, Bucky's an old-ass dude. Sam, just went through war. I mean, I'd say I'd want to go on vacation.
Well, and there is credence to that. I mean, Bucky, maybe that's what this show is about overall, is Bucky and Sam learning to live a little bit outside of war. Yeah. Them being veterans who have never really left the fight ever since they entered it. Like,
the closest thing Sam got was that month where he was on off active duty and then decided, no, it's okay, I'll join back up.
Yeah,
I'll help you out.
I mean, Captain America's asking for my help. I'm gonna help.
Yeah.
Is Cap on the moon? Or with Nick Fury? What do we think?
I kind of want to know what they were talking about whenever he was like, I want to know what happened to Cap. I want to know where he's at.
Dude, I don't know. I feel like that's the most foreshadowy thing ever. I don't like. Obviously, Sam is going to want to know, like, who was it? Was it who asked that question? Who said like, Torres. I got to know what Cap is?
Torres.
Yeah, that's right. Like, I don't know. I don't think they would just ask that out in the show. Like, I feel like they're just foreshadowing that he's still alive, just being old and like running I don't know.
He definitely either has to be dead. Oh, I was just going to say, he definitely either has to be dead or on the moon, just because I feel like he would not let this ship go down.
I don't know. There's a black super soldier alive. That's the same age, apparently.
That's true. Or Cap could be dead to the public, but in private, he's, living away his life.
I don't think the public knows he went back in time and stayed there.
Yeah, they don't know he's
no.
So that's where the question's asked. Is like, where the fuck did Cap go?
Yeah, why did he just fucking dip?
And, like, where did he get that shield? Because when he went back in time, there was no shield.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's a newer shield. It looks new. There's new things to it.
He was back in,
Dude, I know, but you're telling me he went back to Wakanda when he went back in time?
No, he took the shield with him back in time.
He took his shield with him back in time.
No, but it was broken.
No.
It was broken.
I thought he only had Mjolnir and the stones. That's what he brought back.
Remember the shield gets broken during the fight by Thanos because Thanos like beats the shit out of it with his sword?
Dude, no. The only things he brings back are the stones and Mjolnir. That's it. That's what he brings back.
I thought there were multiple shields.
No,
I don't think he brings the shield back with him. If I were to guess, is that he remakes the like at some point.
How are you going to make a shield
in the 40 years between?
Wakanda?
Bro, he lived for like 70 years. Like, he lived all that time.
So you
also,
think he went
they have access to vibranium outside of Wakanda. It's just super
Tony
rare.
Stark's dad.
Tony Stark's dad. There is no chance that,
you're telling me
that Peggy isn't going to be like, hey, just a heads up, you can quit looking for Steve. It all works out in the end.
So you're telling me, what's Tony's dad's name? What's his dad's name? Whatever. Tony's dad. He was the one who created the super serum or helped create Captain America. So you're telling me old Steve went up to Tony's dad and said, hey, Howard, that's right. Went up to Howard Stark and said, hey, you're going to create me in about, a couple years or whatever. Can I just get my shield now instead of,
no.
whatever you create me in this time?
He probably went back to after he went in the ice.
How do you know?
Yeah,
because why would he go back before he went in the ice?
Yeah, he had to make that dance. He had to make that dance. So I feel like he showed up at that time.
The dance.
Yeah,
or
why would he go back
to the day of the crash so that he could live as if he didn't crash?
Yeah, that's probably what he did. So what happened is he just lived in solitude with Peggy, and then if I had to guess, Peggy was probably just like, "Hey, heads up, Howard, you can quit looking for Steve. It all works out in the end." Because otherwise, why would Howard just decide, "Nah, it's good. I'll just stop looking"?
I also double checked. Yes, he did not go back with the shield in his hand. He had the hammer, but no shield. So
he definitely just had him remake a new shield.
I mean, it's a filler. We don't.
Where's Mjolnir?
What do you mean? No, he probably brought it. No, because remember they took it from the other time, so he brought it back to where they took it from.
Oh, did he have to bring it back to Asgard?
Yeah, like he went back to all the spots they went to. So he went back to like.
Oh yeah, he had to
put
the stones
back. Military base. He went back to Asgard.
Oh, so he went all over space. He went all over. He
went to each timeline that the stone was taken from to return it to put it in each spot.
So he was not on Earth the whole time at all.
No.
He's
went to
been
the soul
places
place
now. So he's been places.
Yeah, he went to the soul place. Waved to Natasha at the bottom real quick.
He didn't go to the soul place.
Tell me
this. Actually, no, he probably did to return the stone.
So wave at Natasha was like, hello.
Cap goes back in time. He has to leave Earth. Who is he going to ask back in that time to leave Earth?
I would assume they probably sent him back with the little spaceship. that he sent that they sent back?
No.
I mean, guys, we'll think about it. We're all talking hypotheticals here because there's nothing.
Why wouldn't he go back with the spaceship, Joseph?
Anybody could guess
There's
a scenario.
no way he brought a spaceship with him. He had a briefcase of the stones and a Mjolnir.
No, do you not remember how they brought it back originally? They shrunk the spaceship.
Shrunk that thing down?
Yeah.
I guess he could have had it.
That's how they did it that's how they did it like the first time was they went back with the little spaceship.
But it's not something that's clarified in comics. It's not something that the directors clarified.
Yeah, no, there's definitely we're talking hypotheticals now.
Hypotheticals. Can we talk about just this black super soldier real quick? I just want to get there. I'm still in love.
Story.
I'm happy.
Devastating story.
Is this like? Okay, I never watched it, but it might be DC. I don't know, but it's like just a big, strong black guy that's like bulletproof. I don't know if it's Marvel or DC, but there's a show
Cage?
over it. Yeah, is that Marvel or DC?
Not him. That's Marvel.
That's Marvel, and it is not him.
Okay, I didn't know if this was like their way of bringing him into the MCU. I've never watched the TV show. I just didn't know. I just wanted to.
No, this is
clarify.
Isaiah Bradley, who is the original Captain America, even before Steve Rogers. But he never got his credit because, you guessed it, he's a black man in the 1940s.
Black. Racism!
And after he gets done, killing people on behalf of the government locks him up because he's
to
black.
test him. Yeah,
Dude.
And wouldn't he have been right after Steve Rogers, since Steve Rogers was World War II?
Successful? Was Steve Rogers the first successful super soldier?
It was after Steve Rogers.
So he was the first.
Because he was World War II, and this guy was like Korea and Vietnam, I think.
I was going with his comic book lore.
Well, I think that would still be the same, wouldn't it? Because technically,
they didn't go word for word. The comic book I read, the Red, White, and Black, it explains that he got the super soldier serum even before Steve Rogers did.
Oh, whoa!
Oh, was Steve Rogers in comic books?
I thought Steve was the first super soldier.
I thought he was too.
Huh?
I don't know, man.
Interesting.
Maybe that's just in the movies.
I don't know.
Like
I'll have to look into it more. I might be just talking out my ass, but I thought that's what it said in Red, White, and Black. I'll have to reread it.
But dude, that's a devastating. That's a sad ass story. That's super sad. You do all of this work. Oh man, I don't know.
No, it's shining a light on the systemic racism that even plagues super soldiers. The superheroes, like Falcon, even experiences, his share of racism here.
Out of the entire population, what's his name? I don't want to.
Isaiah Bradley.
And still was systemically but you're the man. I don't know. That's just crazy to me. You do all that work for nothing.
Yeah, it's a devastating story, but I do enjoy the way it's setting up Young Avengers with his son, Elijah Bradley. Elijah Bradley is the Patriot, and he's involved in the Young Avengers along with, Wiccan and Speed and the Haley Steinfeld Hawkeye, I'm assuming, is who's going to be roped in there on that side too. But there's just a whole lot of directions the future of the MCU has because of all these seeds they're planting. It's phenomenal.
If they bring back a Hawkeye-like character, I swear to God, I'm going to personally attack Disney. This is the opportunity they have to get rid of Hawkeye forever. If they don't take it, I'm going to be pissed.
You do know that they're doing a TV show, right?
Is it really?
Yeah.
Hawkeye, the Hawkeye, or
well, it's him and it's not actually his daughter, but Kate Bishop. Yeah.
Oh my God! They should have just let him
Haley
die.
Steinfeld.
Just let him die.
Also, Colton, I was just looking it up. You were right. He was the first one he was one of the there were 5 people that survived the original trials, and he was one of those 5 because it was they did tests on African Americans, like where they were testing the super soldier stuff.
Well, that's
5 of them survived.
That's part of it. They would have tested it on black people. And
yes, they were only testing it on black people. There were 300 soldiers. 1 of them survived, or 5 of them survived, and then something happened, and he was the only one left. And then, Cap. It worked on Cap. Cap became Captain America, and then after
that is
he was
even
dead, then
more
he kind of went
sad.
on to do other stuff.
Well, yeah,
that is even more sad. Oh my god!
It shows how real world racism could seep into a world like this, you know?
Well, and what like that stuff is something that they did do in the real world too back then, is they tested all those stuff. They all those tests
not
they did
just
on
back then.
black
Even when
people first.
even when there was stuff about the COVID vaccine being made, there was stuff about how they should probably test it in Africa because that makes sense.
Every day that I live my life, I just hate humanity more and more. I just don't understand the world.
It's pathetic. But I also love the guy who plays Isaiah Bradley. His name's Carl Lumbly. He's the last time I saw him was in Supergirl, and he was the father of the Martian Manhunter. So he was a pretty cool dude. He has a very moving sacrifice at one point.
Maybe he's the link between Marvel and DC.
Perhaps he is.
He's Martian Manhunter.
He's a king, but nonetheless, I want to talk about the Flag Smashers. We got more and more Flag Smashers this episode. We got introduced to their leader, Carly Morgenthau.
Mm-hmm.
Am I pronouncing that right?
Oh, I have no idea if you're right. I'm just saying. I'm just agreeing. You could have said any name, and I would have been like, "Yep."
I know her first name is Carly, and that's it.
I think, I remember Carly. It sounded familiar.
Oh, actually, so before we get on to that, I did really. I mean, obviously, it was meant to kind of be humorous and also like a little like serious and like this is real world stuff. But the whole like Black Falcon conversation.
Yeah.
Like a real world conversation. Thought it was really funny how he turned it on the kid and said, "All right, I'm going to call you Black Kid."
Yeah.
And the kid was like, "Well, all right."
Yeah, and I also thought just later on in that scene, whenever the cops come and talk to Falcon because they're stirring up shit, you know, quote unquote. Yeah. And they're like, "We didn't even recognize you without your goggles." It's like, does it matter though? Like,
the fact that they weren't pointing any weapon or hostile towards Bucky at all.
Yeah,
at the same time.
They didn't do shit. They didn't do shit towards Bucky, and I also liked the detail that like Bucky is such a, 106-year-old white guy that like whenever they're like, show me your ID, show me your identification, he goes, "Just do it so we can get this over with, man." And Sam's like, "Absolutely not. That's not at all what should happen here because I don't have to do that. I'm not doing anything wrong." And it's like, that does make Bucky a pretty 106-year-old white guy.
Yeah.
The irony of the cops going to the black guy first.
And then Bucky
realizing
got arrested.
Yeah, the one that got arrested. Oh man, the irony. Dude, this show has been taking some slam dunks on racism. Like slam dunks. I swear. They're going hard.
One of the best things about this show for me is the idea of the Flag Smashers and what they could be. At first I was worried they were like following what Thanos wanted and wanted to like kill off half the population so that the resources, but really all they want to do is seize power, like take over power from the assholes who are at the top. And frankly, like there are worse things to get behind, you know, like,
yeah, like saying Thanos was right. Let's kill half the population.
Exactly.
It went from a really bad goal to still, you know, not an ideal goal to like go like thing to go after, but you know what? Not the worst thing in the world to be like, all right, these people that came back are all assholes.
I just like the side of it that's more like living a world without borders, like, you know, like whatever, like that side of the Flag Smashers.
During that 5 years, they had world peace. nobody fought each other because they were decimated. They were too distraught to
humanity
fight.
had to come together in order to survive.
Yeah.
I get how somebody would live during the blip, be depressed for basically 5 years, but at the same time, there's no war or anything bad going on. And then everyone coming back and ruining that, that's the world had to go into overdrive, when the blip, or whenever everybody returned.
And also it's the whole where they kind of mention it at one point where they say the governments are now more focused on those who left than those who stayed, and it's the whole thing of anytime you try and prop up one group, another group is always going to look at that and say, why aren't we getting that same treatment?
Mm-hmm.
And feel left out and be mad about it.
Dude, that was a line that hit me damn.
Yeah.
That was a damn line. When something gets better for one group,
it might not be getting worse for another group, but they're always, if they're not getting the same special treatment that one group is getting, they're always going to see it as, all right, we're not getting that special treatment for whatever reason, so we're mad about that.
Which is wrong.
There should only be one group, and that group is humanity.
Right. But
a little sorry,
right on,
I don't know why. All right, whatever.
I like the idea though. It is understandable that during this era, these people see what the world could be, and then idyllically, whenever the people come back, nothing obviously the economy and stuff is going to be the world economy is going to be drastically affected by having twice as many people come back to Earth. Obviously, shit's gonna hit the fan worldwide. Yeah. But it's why did we have to all of a sudden turn on each other again? Why couldn't we have used that as an opportunity to come together? Why was that the reason we all split apart?
Because that's not fun, Colton.
It doesn't make good
TV. We need war. Exactly.
Yeah, we need a reason for Falcon and the Winter Soldier to have a series.
Yeah, Falcon and Sam and Bucky would not have jobs. All right, so we need to keep them paid, even though they're not getting paid for what they do.
Yep, we just got to keep them occupied. Which is
wild.
Basically, you got to keep them occupied.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was Bucky though, think about it. You've been on a complete action adventure your whole life, even though it sucked. You've been used and brainwashed and shit. But you're on an action adventure your whole life, and then you go to nothing. I'm not even gonna punch anybody in the face today with a vibranium fist. That has to be boring. I don't know. He was sleeping on the floor, bro. He was sitting on the floor.
I liked that in the last episode when the therapist was like, that's bullshit. You don't want peace. You've been active for 90 years in one way. You're not going to be able to live with yourself by yourself just doing nothing. I think it's funny that when John Walker jumped back on the car after they'd pushed off Battlestar.
Wait, Battlestar?
Lamar Hoskins, I think was his name.
Oh, okay. I was like, who is Battlestar? I completely forgot that was his name.
Oh, that's right. His name
was
way over the top.
He had such a stupid name, I immediately forgot.
Yeah, and Bucky was like, pull over. I'm out of get me out of here. Yeah. Battlestar? Are you kidding me?
It was such a bad name.
What's your name? Battlestar.
So it's so bad. But nevertheless, when he jumped back on the car after Lamar got thrown off, he looks at Carly and goes, that was a mistake. And he's ready to beat her ass, and then she just punches him and he flies off. And I thought that was hilarious.
Kicks the shit out of him.
Which is what tells me he does not have the super soldier serum, I don't think.
He has to be doing something though. How hard he threw the shield.
Yeah.
He's on something. He's not on super soldier something, but he's on something.
I don't know.
He got his ass kicked too hard to be on super soldier stuff.
I feel like his body would just be bigger though. Because Steve went from a twig to a literal peak male.
I imagine not everyone I imagine not everyone sees that much growth. There's probably just all right, this is ideal form for both size and also speed. Because the mountain's
big.
The mountain's not going to be a very fast dude. So you're also you don't want someone to come out of that thing and just be built like the mountain.
I guess. But
Game of Thrones reference.
He's juicing.
Sorry, cue the noise.
He's juicing or something. There's no way you can throw a vibranium frisbee that fast. There's no way.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. He's got to be doing something. But the way he is in that Good Morning America interview at the beginning, and he goes, "I'm not Tony Stark. I'm not Bruce Banner. I don't have all the gadgets. I don't have super strength." He explicitly states he doesn't have super strength, which is
true.
Part of the super serum.
It's literally Marvel's way of telling us he's just a normal dude.
Guys, have we seen anyone really throw the shield outside of Sam or not?
Dude,
Sam,
I feel like we
Cap
have.
and Bucky?
We saw Hawkeye throw it in Age of Ultron,
and then he went he
hurt his shoulder.
Yeah,
okay.
So a normal dude cannot be whipping it that fast.
But also Hawkeye's kind of old. That's by that point, that's kind of they're playing along with the I'm an old, not an old man, but I'm at that age where any physical
I'm in my
activity just
40s.
hurts.
I shouldn't be doing this anymore.
Yeah. So maybe we don't know it, and the shield is just super fucking light. If Hawkeye's slinging that shit around, it's probably
extremely strong light metal.
Yeah,
Bro,
so maybe
he's
it's
moving
just
at Mach 3 though.
Maybe he's just throwing a
moving.
goddamn aluminum frisbee. Maybe that's why he's throwing it so hard, because he's just throwing an aluminum frisbee.
You take the strongest man on the world and you tell him throw this as hard as you can. It does not go as fast as this thing is whipping and it cutting into trees, bro. There's no way. I'm sorry. You get the most lightweight metal there is. There's no chance.
Interesting. Well, it is interesting that the shield just has that ability to be thrown like that, because even Peter Parker comments on it in Civil War, where he's like, that thing does not obey the laws of physics. It just doesn't.
So, okay. I mean,
maybe we don't know it. Maybe it's not actually made of vibranium. Maybe it's a whole, the dwarves of thing. Yeah, the dwarves of whatever neutron star made it out of that metal, and that's why it bounces everywhere and comes right back. Because it's actually just fucking Mjolnir, but in shield form.
I like to think that, Cap's just constantly doing calculus in his head.
I do. I actually have thought about that before, and it really, I do agree with you. That is a fun thought to have.
Cap would be the best? Class. You think Cap would be the best frisbee golf player of all time? No Cap? Is there any competition? I mean, he's the best.
Nobody is fucking with Captain America on the frisbee golf course.
I mean, that's like a cakewalk for him. It's literally like eating breakfast.
Yeah, probably.
Damn, what a crazy thought.
I did enjoy the whole the car scene after they get the shit kicked out of them. Whenever they're riding in the car and they drive up next to him and they're John's just all right, get in, guys. We'll take it's a long way to the airport. Hop in, and they're like, go fuck yourself.
Walk right past.
And he's like, no.
There was a part of that scene that I really, really enjoyed. It was just a small thing, but earlier in the episode, Falcon comments to Bucky "You're doing the staring thing again," and then in the car, John goes, "Does he always do that?" And Falcon sides with Bucky. He's like, even though me and Bucky are at each other's throats, I still fuck with Bucky more than I fuck with you.
Fuck them kids, bro.
Yeah. Carly kicks the shit out of all of them. They have the car scene that we were just talking about, which is funny as shit. Then it cuts to that scene where they're in hiding in Germany or something. I'm assuming it's Germany because he kind of sounded like he was speaking with an German, English with a German accent type thing.
Okay.
She mentioned they're after us, and then says something about the power broker, and that's all.
She also,
in what context? What was?
I think so. What I have pulled up about it right now is pretty much just the power broker is kind of an established, character, I think, and apparently he was in Marvel. He was there between the Depression and the 1960s, and I guess was super racist or something. And he created a couple villains, but all we really know now is just that he's trafficking super soldier technology.
Yeah, it's not like the power broker.
That's
that would
pretty
make
much
sense.
it.
Like he moves power. He is in charge of where power goes.
Yeah, he's transferring like powers.
Well, is there the chance that Carly stole from the power broker?
And that's kind of what it sounded like, because it sounded like she was afraid of the power broker.
Or that they were subjects of the power broker.
Well,
like
there's also, she gets that text on her phone that says, "You took what is mine, I'm coming to kill you."
Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about, where she's like afraid of him. So I'm kind of thinking they either used to work for him and now they don't, or they used to work for him and they stole from him.
Or that they were his,
That's kind of what I'm saying, is they either stole from him and that's what's his, or them leaving, he's saying like, I own you. You took something from me, being yourselves.
I think that's more what it is. I think they were owned by him. Like, he was in charge of what they did, and then they left, and now they're doing their own thing because, fuck the big guy, like, fuck a guy that owns me. Obviously,
fuck the power broker.
And then maybe now they're just trying to show him like what they could really do, or maybe it's just they wanted to get out. They don't like this guy anymore. Like they had enough.
I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
That story is still going to be fledged out more. That's what I'm looking forward to. Probably most in the series, personally, so far, is getting more on the Flag Smashers. For some reason, that has been like really, really interesting to me, and I want like that. I want that more than anything. I want what's her name? Erin Kellyman, the chick who played Enfys Nest in Solo, and then Kelly Morgenthau. Wait, Carly Morgenthau.
Really?
Yeah, she's a talented actress. So I'm looking forward to what her character becomes. And if she becomes like potentially superhero instead of supervillain, that'd be super cool. Or maybe she dies for the cause, because becoming a revolutionary, you resign yourself to a certain fate. You have to accept that this could lead to
generally death.
Yeah, and like John Walker says in that car scene, he's like, violent revolutions barely get anywhere, and then the Falcon's like usually said by the people who have all the resources. Like, I mean, because like that's the only way change is going to come about.
Slam dunks, bro. Let me tell you, the slam dunks this show has been hitting, man. That's a slam dunk. That was a dank dunk, bro.
That was a fucking good one. I loved that line. I was like, and obviously Marvel's got a checkered past in this arena in terms of military propaganda and things like that. But like, this seems generally like it's chipping away at certain things beside like that can kind of, help in general.
Slam dunks, man. I'm telling you, slam dunking. And the dunks only get better per episode, by the way. They've increased. So I'm curious to see what the dunks are going to be like next episode.
But, because of all this super soldier serum being moved around by the power broker potentially, and then by Carly, it's leaving Falcon and Bucky clueless. They don't know what the fuck to do. So,
and they kind of got beat up by them.
The only person who would know how.
Cap on the moon or with Fury.
Okay. No, the only person besides Cap who knows what to do.
Zemo. And so I recall, I don't know if this was last episode or a few episodes ago, and like potentially the WandaVision finale, someone talked about a Zemo redemption arc.
That was me. And that was last episode.
That was last episode?
Yes.
That gets a little more credence here, a little bit more than I would have considered. I don't know if that's the direction we're heading, obviously, but
why else talk to him?
I think we're going to get one of two things. We're either going to get a Zemo redemption arc, or we're going to get them going to Zemo and asking him for help, and he's just going to be like, fuck you.
17.
No.
Postcar. Yeah. He just starts listing off the words.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet that Zemo, he's a master manipulator, That's what he proved in Civil War.
He's the Lex Luthor of Marvel, in a way.
In a way, like in terms of the way he thinks ahead. You know?
Yeah, and like
It wouldn't
manipulate.
It wouldn't surprise me if Zemo helps and, you know, betrays them. Like, that's just eventually where it's got to be headed, I think. And there's also the potentiality that, like, what if Zemo is the power broker?
Oh, because what would he be doing during the blip? You know, like, I mean, there's a lot of Zemo that we haven't seen.
Well, we see at the end of this episode that he's in prison, so I'm assuming he's been in prison since Civil War.
People run shit through prison, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm
honestly,
saying. Like,
even if he didn't get blipped, it's not like he had a sentence that was only like, oh, you know, it's a 5-year sentence, so he's about to be out. He's in there for the long haul.
Yeah, he bombed the UN.
Yeah.
It's a bad look.
Damn.
It's a bad look.
That's usually not good on a portfolio. Or a resume.
So what kind of experience do you have?
Baron
Well,
Zemo applying for jobs at like fucking IT for some company, and they're like, so we see that you got locked up for 25 to life for bombing the United Nations. You got anything to say about that?
It was all for my wife and child.
It was
you're
different
hired.
Time. It was different time.
But I don't have much else to say about this episode, guys. I'm not gonna
lie. I really hope. I mean, because we got 4 episodes left now. Like 4 episodes, something's going to happen.
Well, I feel like this episode even kicked it up a notch already. Like it already.
It's still building.
It's still building, but it definitely gave us a little more. You know, we learned more about the Flag Smashers and stuff, and
the fight scene.
It was better than episode 1.
I'm sure episode 3 where they meet Zemo is going to be pretty big. Like, I bet that.
The end. What action do we have other than Sam and Bucky and New Cap and
the opening scene of the first episode?
The weird name? Weird Battlestar versus the Flag Smashers. Like, I don't think that's what it is. I don't think it's that simple. I don't know.
There's this report. There's a report coming out that in episode 5, we have a character introduced who we've never seen before in the MCU, and is another superhero.
Ooh.
So, I'm thinking either with the seeds being planted of Elijah Bradley, maybe we get the Patriot.
Or maybe we get Natalie Portman.
We could get something bigger. Yeah, we could get something bigger.
To kind of introduce the Thor Love and Thunder storyline, possibly. I don't know.
Oh, Natalie. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Not as Padme, if that's what you were thinking.
No, I honestly, I don't know whose name I heard, but I was like, what? Who?
Could be interesting. So,
yeah.
So are we going back to another cameo possibility? And then
I don't think they definitely aren't trying to build it up as much because of the disappointment last time. I just saw like an article that was like, in episode 5, there's a new character. Blah.
That's it. Nothing more.
That's in the penultimate episode, the second to last episode. So it's got to be a pretty big game changer, I'm assuming.
I don't know. How much?
Or an introduction to someone else.
Yeah, how much can you really accomplish in 4 episodes? Like,
I just need, before the last episode, I need at least a 10-minute scene of Bucky coming clean to the old man, saying, "Hey, I killed your son," and then
we'll get that
falling in love with that one woman. I need Bucky to have a love interest.
Do you think this show has any MCU level ramification? Or do you think this show is kind of just more of a standalone?
I think there is, it's with the Flag Smashers.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, you have, as I kind of said earlier, you have the Flag Smashers, like Colton just said. You have the potential for Sam to become the new Captain America, and like fully establish himself in that role. You have Bucky kind of becoming like probably becoming an official member of the Avengers, and not just becoming like an official member of the Avengers and not just like a part-time Avenger / not really an Avenger / just kind of sitting on his ass. And then also you have like U.S. Agent becoming a real thing and not being Captain America anymore.
There it is.
At the end of the day, we are the type of fan that is going to watch anything Marvel puts out.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we do. But probably the largest majority of people who watch Marvel are just moviegoers. They just watch the movies. And if it's a big movie. Do you think they really put something that important in this show that's going to matter for the next big movie?
Yeah.
I think the answer is no. Because in WandaVision, you don't have to watch the show for her to be in Doctor Strange. She's going to show up in Doctor Strange. They're going to explain everything in the movie. As if you didn't watch WandaVision.
Well, but I mean, what if White Vision pops up? How the fuck is someone who hasn't seen WandaVision going to be like, who the fuck's that asshole?
I'd say that's the only MCU level ramification of WandaVision.
But I mean, even the other ones aren't like
the Scarlet Witch.
I understand that. But
they're
that
MCU level ramifications, but they're not hard to explain in the movies. Like Sam becoming Captain America, not that hard for him to just like show up with a shield, and someone who hasn't watched it just be like, oh, so he's Captain America now.
I guess what I'm trying to say is there are side movies and the main movies. The Avengers movies obviously being the main movies. The side movies being the individual hero. I think this is a step down from the individual hero movie in terms of importance, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying, and I don't think it is, just because even like the side movies in the MCU, for like, there are a lot of people who even aren't like huge Marvel fans have watched every single MCU movie, just because in order to like really get the full depth out of Avengers, out of Infinity War, out of Endgame, you have to be connected to all of these characters, which means you kind of have to have watched all these movies. And so I feel like they're not going to be afraid to put some big thing in one side, in like one of these TV shows, just because if they do, all it does is it provides more reason for that not like is guaranteed going to watch every single thing that Marvel puts out immediately, but it'll give them more reason to be like, oh, before the next Avengers movie that I go watch, before that comes out, I need to go back and watch Winter Soldier, so that way I can understand what's going on with Sam and Bucky type thing. Because then all that is more views for them and more money.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Money. If it ain't about the money. Y'all got anything else to say about the Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 2, the Star Spangled Man?
I don't think so.
Fuck Cap, bro. I'm on the fence with him. At the end of the day, at the end of this episode, I'm on the fence with him. I'm not over the edge where I hate him and I won't give him another chance.
I started on the fence with him and ended firmly on the side of the fence that was fuck New Cap.
I'm like 70% fuck him, 30% I'm still holding on.
Yeah, you need to, Joseph, let go.
I hold on to everything. I still think Ultron's alive.
You need to let go. You're still holding on.
Yeah.
Let go.
Ultron's still alive, and if you don't want to believe that, I don't know what I can say to make you believe it. Because it's
That's
true.
where I'm going to end the episode. That's where I'm going to end the episode. Before we get any deeper into the Ultron take again.
I promise not to go into it anymore. I made
Joseph, time
New
travel.
Year's resolution.
Oh, it's going to be so funny in the next Avengers movie when like Hayward pops up and he's like, I have no strings on me.
Lizard King. I don't know, man.
I feel like not to get off on a tangent, but I feel like if they reintroduce him as old, like I can't remember his name. What's his name?
Hayward?
No, the like voice actor.
Oh, James Spader.
James Spader. They reintroduce him as Ultron. His opening line has to be, "I'm the fucking Lizard King."
It has to be.
You don't even know my real name. I'm
the
Ultron.
I'm
like
the fucking Lizard King. But
I own you.
This has been the Penny Bloom podcast. 'Twas I, Colton Robertson, and I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you for having me. I love doing this. I can't wait for next week, baby.
I love having you here, buddy. I love having you here. And thank you, Miles Buttress.
Hey, I mean, anytime, man.
Next week even. And thank you, Tillman McClunie, for being here. Sadly, he couldn't wrap up the show. He had to dip on us a little early. No big deal. But thank you. Thank you for joining us. Come back next week for the Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 3. I'm ready.
To fill in for Tillman's response, he would have said, "You picked me last again."
He would have.
Just filling in for you, Tillman.
Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves.